Program Strategist James Baker with the Public Sector Technology Exchange. The Public Sector Technology Exchange is an independent venue that focuses on the issue of government, technology, and the citizen. It's my pleasure today to have my guest, Karen Wong, who is the Director for the Public Safety Communication Office. Appointed by Governor Brown, Karen oversees the strategic framework and tactical direction for the state's public safety communication systems, including California's 911 network, infrastructure that supports 460 public safety answering points, the state's public safety microwave network, and the state's public safety agency's first responder land mobile radio systems. Karen's office has 350 employees, a budget of $67 million, and $120 million that goes out to local assistance and reimbursement. In addition, Karen is the state's contact to work with the First Responder Authority, or FirstNet, on the National Public Safety Communications Broadband Network. Karen is a current member on the Federal Communications Commission Communications, Security, Reliability, and Interoperability Council, the California Law Enforcement Telecommunications System Advisory Council, and serves as Vice Chair on the Bay Area Radio Interoperability Communication Authority Board. Karen was previously appointed by Governor Schwarzenegger as a Deputy Director for the Public Safety Communication Division and has 21 years with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, serving in career executive appointments in the Healthcare Division, Office of Correctional Safety, Office of Environmental Health and Safety, and Office of Telecommunication. Karen, what a joy to have you here. And boy, what an impressive resume. One of my joys in my job is I get to meet folks like you that are truly changing government through hard work, through vision. And what I'd like to do, I have a few questions I want to go through with you, but probably the most important one today is that you're moving locations. You're changing where you all are from right now here with the California Technology Agency going over to emergency management. Could you elaborate a little bit about why that change is taking place?
Oh, absolutely, and we're really excited. We moved from the Public Safety Communications Office moved from the Department of General Services back in 2009 over to the Technology Agency. And the Technology Agency has been a really supportive venue for us to be in, an agency for us to be in, and it has served us well. But what we are finding is that many of our stakeholders really connected more with the California Emergency Management Agency than with the Technology Agency. So when you looked at our business line and you looked at all of our stakeholders, it made more sense to move us over to CalEMA. So as of July 1, we will begin being a part of the CalEMA organization. So it is really exciting. We have been talking and working with CalEMA for several months now, and we have a lot of synergy. We have a lot of areas that we can actually coordinate better that will actually serve the state of California citizens in a better way during emergencies, and then for day-to-day, whether it's through a 911 call or just the radio response through our public safety officials.
Now, one of the things I want to point out to the audience listening in is that we read a great deal of information about Karen's resume and the different organizations that she's with, but could you share, I have a little bit of insight to what those different groups, and that is no short list to get your name on. Those are, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when a natural disaster, when something happens, there are multiple points of communication where ultimately we have to get the right information, not only to the citizens, but to also decision makers in these situations. Could you share with us a little bit, as you sit on these different councils, what are some of the challenges with your job as you look at communication, as well as, I know that the state has some neat things that you are doing right now to bring a lot of innovation to that.
A lot of the challenges are making sure that we're able to get the information to the public. In any type of catastrophic event, it's hard to get the information out to the folks that need it quickly. So, an emergency notification system is one of the things that we're really working on, and that's one of the areas that we will really be able to work better at with CalEMA. There's also in our smartphones today, and it's just rolling out, that there will be the ability to have emergency notification pushed out to you wherever you are. So if you happen to be traveling in the Los Angeles area, an event happens there, your phone will know where you're at and will be able to push that notification to you. So that is just fairly new. It's rolling out from the wireless telephone companies, and so there'll be more about that coming. Some of the other challenges is to making sure that our 911 system is there for everyone all the time. And that's some of the innovation that we've been doing lately. We have 5 pilot projects for Next Gen 911 that we're right in the middle of. Our first and our most important has been, we got a grant from the E911 back from the feds for $4 million to put a northeast grant project for Next Gen 911 up in the northeastern part of California. So what we've ultimately done is taken 13 counties and 37 public safety answering points and networked them to an IP backbone. First in the state, it was phenomenal, the working relationships between us, the local law enforcement, the fire,
I can imagine.
The community. Yes, because this connecting all that also has a lot of operational impact and jurisdictional issues that we're able to overcome through this project. And then the most exciting thing that we did through this project is we were the first in the nation to be able to do call identification, location identification through an IP network. So when you call 911, over this IP network, we can actually identify your location as if it was a wireless telephone call over the normal wireless telephone network.
Wow. Now, share with me, too, a little bit. What I'm always fascinated, we're in this era right now of bring your own device. Everyone like me, whether it's an iPhone or Android, we have some kind of tablet, a phone, a laptop, and then a desktop. And we're doing, in this era of bringing your own device, the big thing that I think comes up for a lot of folks is security. And I can imagine, too, that when you're in those integral places where you're sharing data with other places, do you foresee a lot of security challenges coming up down the road with this new era of so much computing power just for the layperson?
There will be a lot of security challenges. The Next Gen 911 network is going to have major security challenges, and we're still working that out. The network itself needs to be open for anybody to have access to, and then it also needs to be very secure, because the information will be gathering. And it goes back to your devices that you were talking about. What we're hoping to be able to do with the convergence of the networks is to be able to take, possibly you'll have a device that has your health records on it, if you're in an accident or have a health issue, you'll be able to send that information over through the Next Gen network. And we're hoping that we'll be able to also tie into the public safety broadband network that's on its way. It will pass up the call taker that normally would answer your 911 call and actually get right to our first responder. Now, the first responder is going to have a device itself that will be able to read this. So we're going to have devices specifically for public safety needs. So we won't want some of the public safety information being pushed over to somebody's iPhone or their BlackBerry or their Droid or whatever they're using. So this network will be kind of closed, so the public safety responder, first responder, will have to use this dedicated device.
No, that's really interesting. I think, too, in the position that you said in some of these councils, they're observing a lot of the issues that are challenging, not just our state here in California, but the whole country. And you've mentioned some of the emerging technologies that are coming out with from cell phone providers. What are some other technologies that you all are looking at the state in terms of when you're looking to get information out as you're looking towards the future?
We've been looking a lot of different areas, and because it's law enforcement, a lot of their data is very secure, which is why I sit on the CLETS advisory board, the California Law Enforcement Advisory Board on this. We have to make sure this data is secure as it comes into the network. So that has been a challenge. Then we're also looking at text to 911, and that's where right now you cannot send a text message to 911. And there's been several instances of different events throughout the nation that if people were able to do that, probably could have saved lives. So we're looking at having our pilot project go out to text to 911. But as we do that, we're challenged to make sure that we're conforming with the technology and the security issues with the law enforcement areas. And then also, what do we do with the data once we have it? A telephone call with a 911 is public. You hear those calls on the news all the time. Is the text message the same? How do we deal with some of the security issues that come along with that? Photos that may be taken that run over Next Gen network, the videos that come over that. So we are challenged with how we will be securing that network. And then we also see a lot of convergence of technologies. Pretty soon there'll be radio over IP. So we'll also be able to send a certain amount of data over that same IP network that will also get to the first responders. Another security challenge for us.
Well, and I would imagine too that social media could be a security challenge, just in the event that, say a network or system goes down. But I mean, as we've seen with in the last year with all the shootings we've watched, whether it be in movie theaters or elementary schools, we've seen just a variety of information that either goes out through video, Twitter, and other places like that. So I would imagine too that those things would come into play as you all are looking at methods to communicate.
We are, and we actually looked in the Next Gen 911 area. We've actually looked at how would social media be able to play into that. And one of the challenges is that social media is just that, social media.
Yeah.
And so if you're able, because you're not able to communicate with a 911 facility other way, do it through social media, but then everybody else is communicating on that. So one of the things we're looking at is how can we have a closed social media per se, so you can get to social media to maybe a public safety answering point, but it won't be something that everybody can converse on. So another avenue to get there through Twitter, that would be another way we would want to look at. The doors are just opening up through technology today on things that we've never thought of. Our cars, for example, have OnStar, Azero, different.
Right.
Those cars are censored everywhere. So you can, with the crash data, you can actually tell if you had your seatbelt on, how many people were in the car, how fast you were going, how many times the car rolled over. And that data, the telematics from that, can actually get to a first responder through this network, that the first responders will know, do they need to respond through a trauma center? Is it going to be just an emergency room type of visit? Is there a fatality? So they will have more information as they respond than they do today.
Well, and when you position information like that, because I think any time there's a catastrophe or disaster, you want to get the right information to the right person. You're correct. If you're able to, preemptively send people, whether it's, size, shape, what's in it, that can make those differences in those seconds can make important differences in the outcome for people.
Well, and then it also helps the first responders be able to make better decisions on what they're going to take to the response. Do they just send life flight based on this telematics, or do they wait till they get there? So it's all about saving lives and being able to respond quicker. This is also the same information they'll be able to use in any type of catastrophic event if there's an earthquake. So they'll be able to take sensors. There's plans to be sensors on our roads. We'll be able to tell from the sensors if those roads are down and be able to gather that data differently than we have before.
Karen, is there anything else that you would like to share for our audience before I ask my closing question here that you think would be...
I think I've hit on most of what I wanted to talk about today.
My last question for you is this. I have the opportunity in my position to meet great leaders of government all the time. And I think sometimes the public, will read a story about someone at GSA spending millions of dollars on it, but they don't get to see great leaders like you and all the wonderful things that you're doing. And I always like to hear from folks, what are some of your guiding principles that you use? I mean, you're doing a big job here in the state. It's very important. What are some of those, when at the end of the day, what are some of those things that you look to just to help you as you make the decisions and leadership here for our state?
With this, that's kind of a tough question, but I'll be glad to share. My whole office, the Public Safety Communications Office, is there to serve. We have no horse in the race, so to speak. We don't have first responders. We don't have anything other than just to make sure that we're giving the radio systems that the CHP, CAL FIRE, and all the other public safety agencies need. The state's microwave network is for their use. The 911 system is for the citizens. So we look every day and every time we talk about the different projects, who are we serving, and are we serving them at the best ability that we can? Which is why we're looking at the pilot projects for Next Gen. We want to be sure that as we roll out next generation of 911, that the 911 system will be as equally, I lost a word. It will be as equally safe for the 911 for the callers to get to, and as reliable as it is today. And when you move off a normal telephone system onto an IP platform, we need to make sure that we know what we're doing as we roll this out. The same with text to 911. 911. The same with radios over IP. Our job is to make sure that we're giving the best systems to either our first responders or to the citizens of California. So the guiding principle is we're really here to serve.
And I think with that, that is a great principle. I'm James Baker with the Public Sector Technology Exchange. To learn more about the Public Sector Technology Exchange, please visit the link on your screen. And again, I want to thank my guest, Karen Wong. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very much.